The fastest bullet train in the world is on the verge of its maiden run in America due to its impressive speed. Many people want to be among the first passengers to experience this. A hologram of Holly, the engineer of the train, is set to welcome all passengers on board to the inaugural ride. Two siblings, Davy and Claire, are going to see their mom in San Francisco. They are obsessed with the train and its revolutionary speed. Davy is a very social person and won't hesitate to get everything going around him online. Immediately he sees Jack Banta, the mastermind behind the bullet train. He rushes to him for a photo opportunity so that he can as usual post it online. He gets obstructed and ends up taking a photo with Lou, Jack's assistant. Not a bad consolation for him. Jack is having a quick interview with Joyce. He talks about how he got the idea to make it happen, how fast and more reliable it is than traditional rail. He believes the technology behind this is going to better the lives of people and take away the stress of driving cars from one location to the other. The final boarding announcement is heard and everyone gets on the train, receiving a warm welcome. Davy can't get off his phone for even a second. Her sister's persona far differs from his, and she always tries to get him to put it away for some time. The train will soon be departing. Frank, the man in glasses, comments on a book his co-passenger is reading. Kessler is a high school teacher who doesn't want to forget anything, so he keeps refreshing his mind. On the other hand, the guy in glasses happens to be a techie. He says he just wanted to be part of the 104 passengers to be on board the bullet train the first day. The high school teacher also wants this experience to be a story that he'll keep telling his students about. They exchange pleasantries. Jack and Lou board the train and take a few photos with the engineer for their socials. Before the departure, Operation Central Control detects a problem with the hatch on the underside of the train. Holly checks and closes the hatch as it is open, though it wasn't open when they last inspected it the night before. They brush it off and start the train. As the train proceeds to move, the passengers enjoy the beautiful view from outside. Jack officially thanks them for joining the inaugural ride. Davy is excited seeing the train's speed in 3 digits. His sister makes him happier after telling him she read that it can go up to 300 miles per hour. Frank starts sweating profusely as he is nervous about the speed of the train. Kessler sees him and tries to offer help, but he insists he's fine and excuses himself. The speed of the train keeps climbing up, making the siblings enjoy the ride the more. 3 minutes into the ride, Jack receives a call from an unlisted number. As soon as he answers the call, the caller congratulates him for his invention and how he is impressed with it. Later, he gives him the bad news that there's a bomb planted in the train. Jack doesn't think twice and hangs the call up. He calls again on the train's emergency number. Holly picks it up and gives it to Jack. The terrorist tells him there's an explosive device that has been planted into the train's power system. He again makes it clear to him that if the speed of the train drops below 200 miles per hour, the train will explode, and in exchange of their lives, he must send him $100 million via crypto. Though this money is like chicken change to him, he tries to strike a deal with him. The terrorist disagrees and tells him all the passengers in car 6 will be dead within a minute. Jack right away makes an announcement that all people in cars 5 and 6 move away from there immediately. In a few seconds, car 6 explodes and detaches itself from the train, leaving Janet an injury in her knee. As the train rails through a rocky area, pieces of smaller rocks break the train's window. The passengers become terrified and hold on to their seats to avoid further harm. Kessler goes to rescue Claire. He tapes the window and takes out the piece of glass stuck in her skin. Jack sees from the security footage that smoke has filled car 5. He then calls a friend at the FBI and briefs him on the situation. Scott Madison tells him not to transfer the money to the terrorist under no circumstance. He then assures him he will send help to them in no time. Kessler walks through the train to see if anyone is hurt or needs help. Jack tries reaching the passengers in car 5 to ask them to move away from there, but the train's communication system stops functioning. Jack and Lou watch Kessler walk to car 5 and break the door. In no time, the FBI sends Apaches to obtain live footage of the train and what is happening. A news chopper interferes with the Apaches and makes them lose control. Jack watches Kessler's rescue effort with the other passengers. He wonders who he is and why he is doing that. He then orders Lou to fetch information about Kessler. Jack calls Scott and gives him info about Kessler so that he can run a background check on him. Holly is worried about the tunnel that lies ahead of them and the impending danger if the train doesn't slow down, but Jack tells her never to approach 200 miles, as it can get them all killed. Jack is in distress as his passengers' lives are in danger. He decides to send the terrorist the money he demanded. Scott gives them information on who Kessler is. He is an army veteran who is an expert in explosives. He also tells them Kessler will be very useful if they locate the bomb, so Jack sends for Kessler. After sending money to the terrorist, Jack receives a message from him saying it was never about the money. He became stranded. Kessler also comes in questioning him on why he hasn't yet stopped the train, while people are getting hurt in there. At first, Jack didn't want him to know the reason behind it, even though he needed his help. Scott interferes, saying Kessler has to know what's happening, since he is going to be their only hope at the moment. He explains everything to him. Jack then confesses to Scott he paid the money to the terrorist, and his reply was that it wasn't about the money. Holly also tells them the hatch beneath was open when she came inside, but she didn't think it would lead to this. She shows them the hatch, and in no time Kessler gets under the train and brings the bomb on board. It turns out it isn't a real bomb, but a prototype. Kessler further explains that the terrorist has military background and was trained at Fort Lee. Kessler says that he believes the terrorist has hidden a real bomb somewhere in the train. The FBI is looking at the live feed from the train. They discover an object with a blinking red light on top of the train. It is a bomb. Scott calls Jack to inform him about it. Kessler wants to go up there and see what it is. Scott warns him not to risk his life, and that he will rather dispatch an Osprey and attach a tether to the train to evacuate the passengers. Will this even work? Kessler takes it upon himself to prepare the passengers for their rescue. He goes to the car where he previously was and tells them everything will be fine, but he needs someone to help him get to the roof of the train. Frank tells him he can't do it because of the rate at which the train is moving. He has already made his decision. He tapes his hand, and Davy helps him get to the roof. The FBI sees him inform Jack his passenger is up there. Jack receives another message telling them to stay off the roof. Lou wonders if the terrorist has got cameras everywhere monitoring their every move. The FBI and Jack watch on as Kessler crawls to get the bomb. Kessler sees the tunnel ahead of him and freaks out. He moves to the side of the train. They watch the train pass through the tunnel in doubt that he will survive. The train passes out of the tunnel with Kessler still holding onto it. He tries to deactivate the bomb, but it isn't working, and the bomb's timer keeps beeping. Will it explode? He throws the bomb behind the train. Jack celebrates his success and tells Holly to stop the train. She slots a drive into the train system and now ups the speed. She then opens a hatch on the top of the train and climbs up. She jumps off the train and gets hit by an Apache. Kessler gets back into the train and asks why they still haven't stopped the train. Jack informs him Holly disabled the throttle and the navigation which they will be using to stop the train. Kessler then comes up with an idea that they decouple each car. They agree to do that. Jack tells Scott what they're doing. Scott tells him he'll bring choppers to rescue each car that is decoupled, and then he wishes them good luck. Kessler and Lou move some passengers to the last car and make the next one lighter. They decouple the last car successfully and move to the next one. The terrorist alerts Jack they have only 23 minutes left to crash into San Francisco. Kessler and Lou decouple the next car. They also decouple the next car where we have Davy and Claire among the passengers. In the next car, he requests Frank's help to regain control of the train. Scott informs them he'll need Kessler and Lou's help to connect the towing chain to the train. They attach the chain successfully, but the chopper cannot handle the speed. It loses control and crashes. They get back into the train only to see Frank with a knife in an attempt to kill Jack. Frank starts to tell the story of when he was in the same army school with Kessler and the tragedy that led to the killing of his brother. He did survive it. He blames Kessler for it and attacks him. Kessler pushes to the door. Jack opens the door, and the wind pulls him away. Help reaches the detached cars. Scott sends them a file that will automatically update the train software. Kessler tells Jack and Lou to save themselves because they are hurt. He detaches the first car and moves to the train's control system to launch the new software. He then takes the extra parachute Holly brought. Suddenly, Frank jumps back into the train and begins to fight Kessler. He gets to the roof of the train, and while getting ready to jump off, he fractures his leg. Kessler holds onto him and tells him not to let go. The train derails, making him lose grip of the parachute. Kessler brings the parachute back into the train. He tries to stop the train, but the system keeps malfunctioning. He then gets under the train and fixes the problem. He gets back to the train and sees the unfinished rail ahead of him. Danger ahead. He runs to take cover. The train crashes and explodes. Help teams arrive at all the points where the decoupled cars landed. Kessler pulls himself out of the window and screams in excitement for staying alive.